Okay, guys, so here is what I have to offer you for my last Tap Nugget Power Hour. So I'm going to talk to you about teamwork, and this is how I intro the section. After 4 years of watching coaches and teams start, play, manage, and win some of the most challenging seasons, the concept of a team became real and necessary to me. The part fundamental of T is teamwork. And I learned this the most when I was at ministry, watching sports events. Me and my husband are both athletes. And so I wasn't always the best athlete, but I really enjoyed being on the team. I played soccer since grade school all the way into high school. And then I was a cheerleader in grade school, all the way up through high school. And so I knew what it felt like to be on a team. And then doing Young Life and watching high school games reminded me of what that was like and the element of a team and how much of a priority it should be. So I also noticed, because in Young Life, it is a Christian organization where you do life with these kids. And that's why I was invested in showing up at their games and picking them up and getting to know them and being kind of a mentor, that even my most troubled teens were always so much better when they had teammates to fall back on. They were just so much healthier when they were in season and, their seasonal sport, and they almost didn't know what to do with themselves when they weren't. So with this in mind, they had more purpose when they were practicing in games that they were participating in. Always seemed like they were more mentally stable too when they were part of something outside themselves. And so for me, entering in the classroom after this 4-year break of doing ministry, I never took it for granted what it was like to be on a team when I went back in the classroom. In fact, I made it a priority and worked hard out to be more communal minded rather just in theory. When I first started teaching, like most people in the past, I would start the year telling my class that we were a team or a family. However, as the year would play out and misbehaviors would arise, I would not always say things or act in a manner with the whole team in mind. So when you have to intervene with misbehaviors, or you're talking about like accommodations and gaps to fill, you're really only talking about individual students. And then when you become more individually student minded, you could lose the context of the team. And so with that in mind, I kind of self-reflected and decided that would never win championships in the athletic team. It won't win hearts and minds in the classroom either. So I decided that we were going to learn everything. So my job was to teach and their job was to learn, but everything that they learn in our part classroom was going to be in the context of a team. And so I would give them this spiel at the beginning of the year. I would say, we do our best learning together. So from this day on, we are a team. Now, when I would say this at the beginning of the year, some students in the room would light up because for the first time, they're on a team. Essentially, you would think that everyone grew up in a family that was, close-knit, but family dynamics are like different nowadays. And so like for me, I grew up with a big family who felt very much like a team. But not a lot of families do grow up together nowadays with that sort of aspect, even if, you have a 2-parent household. Things are busy and there are a lot of things that divide a family in time and in space. So for some students, this made the school year really special because they never were on a team. Okay. But for other students who have been in the context of a team, in sports, or a family, it was a different experience. For others who came with prior experience of being on a team, this gets their mindset in gear that the teacher expects them to work together with other kids. This is really important because together is the key word when teaching teamwork. We live in a very individualized society, so most kids aren't used to the word together. And when I say that, it's because a child may not have anything to do together with anyone. They may just never be required to do anything with anyone, even in his or her own family. In a part classroom, it's just a different atmosphere. Children are expected to share, take turns and wait on each other. That is a huge deal. I can't tell you how many issues I had classroom management wise in the classroom is because this classroom space was the very first place where they're called to share something with someone else, where they're called to take turns with somebody else, and especially wait on others. It doesn't matter, if they just have a very like self-focused mentality. Um, Only children, maybe only two kids in the household, but just any child who kind of gets their way all the time and doesn't ever have to contend for anyone else. There's a lot of those in the atmosphere right now. And so, with that in mind, the teamwork aspect is something they're not really used to. So the expectation of teamwork to me is my upfront way of teaching all those social, cooperative skills that are needed to hold a job and be successful in the real world. Because let's be honest, having teamwork is a prerequisite for you to be a more efficient, respectful, and productive worker alongside a group of other people in the workforce. And so the whole point of part in this being a cognitive framework, but also a behavioral framework, is to set kids up for a successful future. And so I had talked about in this chapter that my mindset behind setting teamwork is this. I said, this is my vision for my students. I want a vibrant, successful future for all my students. I want every child I teach to survive under any life circumstance or adversity that stands in his or her way. And I want them to be employed one day and thrive in their positions. And with these things in mind, I will model and push togetherness while they are young and integrated in all that we do. I will cast this vision for them on how a team should function so they know what it should look, feel, and act like. I endure this challenge every year through part and for the chance to give all my students a taste of a better life. I didn't put that in the banner words. All the banner words that were on the screen is written out of my book, but that is my like why and vision. I want to have thriving partners that come out of this part classroom and now my part micro school. So I train my Heartwise scholars to be this way, where teamwork is where we embed a lot of those relationship and social skills and social awareness so that they can thrive in any sense of adversity or opposition when they are living life. I mean, the world and even our nation is rapidly changing. I don't want them to be caught up in the transition. I want them to thrive through it. And so with that in mind, they have to learn how to work with others. But that's all I have to share with you today. So thank you for joining me for our last Tap Nugget Power Hour. Enjoy the rest of your month.